Welcome to today's class. We will start laying down, so find your way to your yoga mat. Feel free to take any extra props with you. I might grab a blanket for under my head. And finding your way maybe to Shavasana with your arms and legs outstretched. Maybe it feels nice today to find constructive rest pose with your feet standing up near the edges of your mat. And then maybe letting your knees rest at the center. If there are any other variations or explorations that you are interested in, go ahead. Any little movements as you settle in. Woo. And once you do find some comfort, take a quick scan of your physical body in no particular order, scanning your awareness throughout. How's your body doing today? Any notable sensations? Are there any messages that your body is trying to convey to you? Anything you might be able to translate? Are there any areas of your body that feel grateful or enlivened? Scanning for any areas you know that you tend to hold tension. Just checking in there. Are you feeling kind of like a normal amount of tension there? Can you possibly soften even 5% more? Start to expand your awareness of your breath. Possibly lengthening out both the inhales and the exhales. Finding what feels like a balanced or equal pace of breath for you, equal amount of inhale to each exhale. Try to find the sweet spot for you today where maybe you're breathing, in an expansive way, but you're not stressing your body out in any way. You're not pushing or trying too hard. An amount of expansion that still allows you to relax your facial features and your jaw. Noticing and relaxing the root of your tongue. You might count how long your inhale takes and match it to the exhale, counting both ways. Or you can be a little less precise with it and just go based on feeling. And if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for your practice today, feel free to bring something or someone to mind. And if you need a little inspiration for a focus or intention today. I've been thinking a lot about what it takes to be in the present moment. I had kind of this visual pop up of like an octopus, like climbing. It's a strange visualization, but an octopus climbing up a tree and each tentacle grabbing a branch higher. And then just, like eventually that branch that you pulled yourself up on, it comes time to let that one go so that you can keep, climbing or moving forward in life. I don't know why that visualization came to mind, but it just was like, you have to keep letting go. You have to keep, being mindful about being in this moment. And of course, there's always going to be a little bit of the past, our conditioning, our state of how things are in our lives. There's going to be, hints of the future, but as much as possible, kind of letting go to be here now. So perhaps choosing an intention, something around that. Be here now, let go. Then let's take 3 clearing breaths together in through the nose. And a big sigh out of your mouth. 2 more like that. And slowly letting your head turn to one direction and then to the other, just rocking your head side to side. Next time your head is rocked over toward the right side, go ahead and pause there. Maybe bringing your right arm up and around and then grabbing hold of like the left side of your head or your cheek, left cheek, just giving a gentle pull so you can stretch out that left side of the neck, maybe swirling or whirling your left hand or arm around, seeing if you can find some interesting sensations through that left side of your neck. Releasing if you're holding there. Let's shift sides. So rocking your head over toward the right side. And then maybe grabbing onto, using the left arm to wrap up and around your head, grabbing hold of the right ear or cheek or side of your head. Maybe resting right there or finding a little bit of a swirling motion with the right arm, the right hand. Finding that having my right hand like reaching kind of down to the side feels really nice today. Cool. When you're done with that, releasing your hold if you had one, and just go ahead and rock your head out a little bit more side to side. You might even bring your hands back to give your neck a little bit of a massage. Maybe finding that area right where the skull and the spine kind of connect, giving some pressure, some circular movements there, massaging out your neck. You can move with it a little bit. My hands are like, go to the shoulders. So feel free to move around a little bit with this self-massage. Could head to the temples for some more circular movement, or let your fingers kind of massage your scalp. I feel like the ears sometimes get forgotten about, but maybe just give your ears a little bit of touch, a little squeeze. And then let's head into a long body stretch, reaching your arms and legs in opposite directions like you're waking up from a big nap. maybe even yawning. And if you had any props beneath you, possibly moving those to the side for now. Let's stand the feet up. We'll go into bridge pose here. So tucking your shoulder blades beneath your chest, pressing your hands, your elbows, and your shoulders down into the mat. Let's pick up all of the toes here first. So wiggle out your toes, spread out your toes, giving the bottom of your feet a little stretch, and then set your feet back down. With an inhale, all that downward pressure mixed with the upward force, lifting the pelvis, lifting the hip points high, and with an exhale, lowering back down. Go ahead and do that a few times, inhaling as you rise and exhaling as you lower. Go ahead and continue like this if you'd like. Otherwise, we're gonna explore a little bit further. But you can always take that as an option for bridge anytime it comes up here. So pressing your right foot down, let's start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that left leg. Rotate out your left ankle. You can even hold on here behind your left thigh if you want. Rotation, wiggling, maybe bending and straightening your knee a couple of times. Then we're gonna bend the left knee and stand your foot kind of on your right thigh or your right knee at whatever angle you might be able to reach. If that's not an option for you, maybe you can put your heel up. We'll find a way. So pressing your hands back down into the sides, we're gonna find a little bit of a bridge. So we're pressing both feet down as we lift up the hips. You're not gonna have a lot of range of motion like you do normally, but just explore with that and then lower back down, being gentle. It's one option. Our next option will be rising up to that, I'm not sure what this is called, and stay there or start to lift your left toes high, reaching for the sky. Go ahead and lower back down, rising up, lowering down a few more times, whichever way seems interesting to you. And when you've had enough, let's kind of find like a rocking the baby cradle with the left leg here. So grabbing hold, your right hand on your left foot and your left knee or your left hand kind of holding your left knee, and go ahead and kind of rock your leg side to side, maybe around in circles. See if there are any nice places to hold, or maybe just continue your stretch. Have you ever had somebody like stretch you, or like a Thai massage or anything like that? This one kind of reminds me of that. Back from the soccer days, I think, for me. And then let's straighten that left leg back up. Go ahead and lower your left leg down, straightening it till it gets to the bottom, and just rest with your left leg straight, right knee bent for a moment. And bending your left knee, we'll get ready for our bridge explorations on the other side. So lifting that right leg up, circle out your right ankle, your right toes, maybe grabbing holds behind the thigh. So it can be more of a relaxing type of thing. Wiggling the toes. You can really like work on the dexterity of your toes quite a bit. I used to not be able to, like, I don't know, I felt like I had like no connection really to like controlling my toes years back. And then ever since doing like yoga and focusing specifically on the feet, it's amazing how much more control and like practice, how practice pays off. Okay, bending and straightening that right knee a couple times if you want. And then let's move into our bridge pose on this side. So planting the right foot on your right thigh or your right knee or wherever you might be able to reach, bringing the hands back down. Go ahead and press into both feet. So you're pressing into the floor, you're pressing into that other knee. Lift just enough. Don't go for as high as you can. Go for good form here. So we're slightly tucking the tailbone under, pressing with both feet. Even if it feels like work here, can you find a sense of calm and control with your breath? And lowering and lifting a few times at your own pace. Option to lift that right leg up. Lifting and lowering a couple times. Find your way. It's really good for our bodies and brains to do like things that are familiar to us, but do them in novel ways. So I'm always trying to get some new stuff in. Whenever you're done, come on back down, straighten that right leg, let it come all the way down to the ground. Heading for a long body stretch this time, both arms, both legs. Reach. All right. Turning on to either side, start to press your way up. We're heading right to hands and knees for cat and cow. Hands more or less beneath the shoulders, knees below the hips. With your inhale, cow pose, belly lowers, gaze and tailbone lift. Exhale, cat, rounding up through the spine, tucking your chin and tailbone. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Let your breath become more like a soundtrack. Can you kind of create like an oceanic wave, helping to anchor you in the moment? It's one of my favorite things about in-person classes is just being able to hear other people breathing. It's so inspiring, which is funny because inspire, it's kind of a like inspiration, breathing in, inhale. I forgot what I was saying now, but that's okay. Cat and cow. We'll do a few scapular push-ups here next. Don't be afraid of the word push-up like I am. So we're coming to tabletop here first. Notice your shoulder blades. Maybe kind of twist your shoulders a little bit side to side. And then we're going to press into the floor with the hands so much that we kind of are rounding up through the center of our spine. The shoulder blades are spreading out and the shoulders are kind of almost rounding or wrapping around you on either side. And then our little push-ups. So we're gonna, while keeping the arms straight, lower the chest. So you're kind of like sinking the chest down. So we're pressing up and then down. And if it doesn't quite register right now for you in this orientation, you could try coming to a seat and bringing your arms out like you're holding a big gift box, so like hands on either side. Then you're going to, without just moving the shoulders here, you're going to pull that gift back towards you with straight arms as much as you can, the shoulder blades hugging together, and then pressing, giving that gift out to someone else, reaching without moving the rest of your body. So you're just kind of retracting. It's called protracting when you're reaching, retracting when shoulder blades come together. So go ahead and try that a couple of times. Really good for the healthy functioning of our shoulders. And our shoulders are definitely connected to the neck, and sometimes some shoulder stretching can be really helpful for any kind of neck tension. So let's go ahead and meet up in extended child's pose with your knees out wide, big toes touching behind you. If you're ready to sink right on into your child's pose, go ahead and find your favorite variation. If child's pose feels a little too deep today, you could just rock a little bit. You come back up and kind of reach back a little. Just going to continue with a rocking motion. You find some props to sit on or something under your chest for support. You never have to make your body fit the pose. You can always alter the pose to suit you. There's never one way to do it. There's always many, many options. Maybe a sigh when you get there. Letting the sensation of relief be present, if that feels right. You're welcome to stay right here or join me in adding on some thread the needle arms. We'll keep the lower half of the body the same here. We're going to thread the right arm underneath the left. So we're just going to head right into it. So the right arm threads underneath, setting the right shoulder inside of your head on the floor or on props. Let your left hand become supportive in some way. Maybe the left hand walks out toward the left side or up toward the top edge of your mat. I'm finding that kind of pressing into my left hand and kind of like leaning into my right shoulder a bit more. It's getting into a really nice place. Highly recommend. And thinking about switching sides here soon. Do it in your own way. We're planting that right hand at some point and then threading the left arm down and through. Right side of the head, right side of the shoulder, right, sorry, left head, left side of the head, left shoulder. Reaching the floor or props. Right hand finding a supportive place. We're going to meet up on our stomachs in crocodile pose. So eventually coming out of your whichever pose you're currently in and coming up through tabletop before lowering everything on down. You could stack your hands or fists or forearms beneath your forehead, or maybe grab a block, but rest your head on something. Crocodile pose, letting your heels splay out to the sides. I kind of am feeling like a sigh in every pose today. Noticing your low back. You might kind of wiggle out the pelvis a little, rocking the hips side to side. Eventually, we'll bend both knees so the feet are standing, or the feet are kind of hanging out in the air back there. Then we're going to lower, we'll point both toes and lower just the right foot. So straighten the right leg. We're just going to switch a couple of times. So right foot lifts, left foot starts to lower. Go ahead and do that a couple times. Noticing anything there is to notice as you go. And then bending both knees, let your feet kind of sway side to side or around, kind of like in a semicircle, swooping back and around to the other side, back and forth. All right, coming to stillness, bringing the feet back down to the floor for now. Let's bring the hands out wide, kind of to a T-like shape. We'll be doing a little pretty big back and hip stretch here. So basically, let's start by bending the right, or placing the right hand by the right side of your chest, and then bend your right knee. We're going to imagine lifting and twisting. So the right leg is twisting back and over as if you were going to touch your right hand to your left, or your right foot to your left hand behind you. And switching sides. We'll just go back and forth a few times at your own pace. Reaching, twisting that leg back and across toward the opposite hand. Go ahead and go back and forth a few times if you'd like, staying within a safe range of motion for you today. Continue as long as you'd like, and we'll meet back up in crocodile pose when you're ready to be done with that. When you're ready, let's rise up to tabletop, grabbing your blocks if you have them. Let's start to find downward dog. So putting those blocks up at the top of your mat. Hands up near the top, curling your toes under, lifting the tailbone high. Reach through your shoulders, press into your hands, find your breath. Maybe bending and straightening opposite knees or rising up to the tippy toes and lowering the heels back down, finding a little bit of fun movement for you, or holding steady. With an inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, but then with your exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat. So end up in a forward fold at the back. We'll find ragdoll pose here, letting your upper body hang loose, maybe grabbing opposite elbows, letting go of any holding through the neck, nodding yes, shaking your head no. Possibly swaying. Switching the grip. If you are holding opposite elbows, go ahead and release and grab hold with the other forearm on top. Let's make our way up to standing, but take like 5 or more breaths to get there. Bending your knees. You could continue your sway as you slowly rise, or maybe bring the hands to the legs for some support. Taking a few more breaths to eventually get to the top. When you get to the top, just keep following your body's lead for a little bit of intuitive movement or any kind of adjustments you need. Maybe a little shake out of your arms or legs. You could do a couple heel drops, lifting and lowering your heels, getting that big kind of bounce going through the body. Maybe jumping a couple of times. That's fun. All right. When you're feeling ready, come into the back edge of your mat here. Looking down at your feet, make sure they're a comfortable distance from each other. Spin your palms to face the front of your space. And feel your shoulder blades kind of wrapping back behind you, almost like you're tucking them back and down into each back pocket. Closing your eyes if that feels right. Take a couple of breaths and just notice how things are. Standing, scanning through your body now. Are there any messages your body's whispering or hopefully not yelling at you? Taking a moment. With an inhale, reach both hands high, joining your hands overhead. With an exhale, side bend to the right, lowering the right arm, reaching up and over to that left arm. Inhale, come back up to center, joining hands overhead. Exhale, side bend to the left. Left hand lowers, right hand reaches, press into both feet. Continue like that once more on each side. Inhale to the top. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale to the top. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale to the top. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands all the way out to your blocks. High plank. Shoulders over wrists. Let's take one big breath in and breath out. Lower your knees and then lower your chest, moving those blocks to the side if you want. Pressing the tops of your feet down into the mat. Let's tent the fingertips off to either side. For me, it's like my hands are off of the mat on either side. Fingertips making contact with the ground, palms lifted. With your inhale, pressing down to the tops of your feet, lift your head and heart. Baby cobra. And exhale, lower. Little variation on baby cobra today. Inhale, rising up. And exhale, lower. One last time. Inhale, rise. And exhale, lower. Inhale, press your way up, tabletop. Exhale to child's pose. 2 big breaths. Your inhale, send your breath all the way to the low back. And exhale. One more breath here. Start to rise up, tabletop, grabbing your blocks. Wait for an exhale, and then ride that exhale to downward dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look to the top of your mat. Exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat, forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining your hands overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Take a few moments to check in. Inhale, reaching hands high. Clearing breath, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands out to your high plank, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, one more big breath in here. And exhale, downward dog, pushing on back. Big breath in, big breath out. Big breath in and out. Inhale, roll forward, high plank, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, bend your knees here a lot. So we're kind of like sitting back toward the heels. Inhale, straighten your legs, downward dog. Exhale, settle in. Let's do that again. Inhale, roll forward, high plank. Exhale, bend your knees, sitting back toward your heels. Inhale, straighten your legs, downward dog. And exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat, forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Hands join overhead. Exhale, samastitihi, hands to heart, equal standing pose. Take a few moments here, maybe closing your eyes as you recall your intention once again. Take a clearing breath. Inhale through your nose as you lift your hands high. Exhale with a sigh, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands all the way out to tabletop, to downward dog this time. Inhale, rise up to your tippy toes. Exhale, sink your heels toward the floor. Inhale, high plank, rolling forward. Exhale, bend your knees, sit back toward the heels. Inhale, down dog, straightening your legs. And exhale, heels reaching toward the floor. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, sitting back. Inhale, down dog, coming up to the tippy toes. And exhale, sink your heels. Just staying here now for another breath in and out. Inhale, bend both knees, look to the top of your mat. Exhale, half pigeon. We're gonna step that right knee up toward the right wrist, setting it down on the floor, and come to the top of that left foot. If you have blocks, let's stand them up on the top or the highest setting here while you get situated. So we're gonna find like an upright position, looking back over your left shoulder, making sure that the left leg is shooting straight out behind you. Sitting up here first, notice the hip opener that's happening here through the left hip when you're sitting up high. If you strengthen at your kind of end range, or not your full end range, but close to your end range of flexibility, you actually get more gains if you stay in a strengthening type position than in a passive stretch. So depending on your goals, maybe you stay here today for your pigeon. If you prefer more of a relaxing vibe, maybe coming down to your forearms on your blocks. Maybe you sit on a block. That might be nice to have a little support underneath your right glute. If this does not feel good in any way, you can take half pigeon from your back. It's like a figure four. So coming down to your back and crossing your right knee or bending your right knee, figure four. So choosing your variation, and we'll be here for a couple minutes. So make sure you feel okay. If you're just trying to like push through right now, but you're really in pain, change something. Maybe come out slightly. Remind yourself it's not about pushing hard all the time. Finding a kind and maybe challenging place to stay. Steadying your mind, steadying your breath. Trying to remain right here. Sometimes it's easy to kind of go somewhere else in your mind if things feel tough. Let's see if we can stay present. Where are you feeling sensation? Can you relax your face a little more? Slowing the breath for about 5 more breaths. Just about 3 more breaths. Let's take a clearing breath right here, in through the nose, sighing through the mouth. As you're ready, sit back onto the right glute. Bring that left leg up and around like you're gonna sit in a cross-legged position, but then untuck your right leg, bring your right knee out toward the right side of your mat, kind of in that deer pose or 90-90 pose. Grabbing your blocks if you have one block in your left hand, one block in your right. Let's twist toward the left. So the left hand and block reach back. Your right hand and block can kind of wedge up against your left knee as you twist, kind of pushing into that right glute slightly. And then relaxing once you get into that twist. See how things are. Soften that right glute, engage that right glute, just see what it's doing for you there, if anything. You can stay here in this upright twist or come out of your twist about halfway, and then bring your arms down onto blocks or just generally fold toward the left side. For some people, it might feel best to center over the left knee and then fold. So always feel free to explore. Let's take a sigh here, in through the nose, out through the mouth when you're ready. Coming back up, unwinding. Let's set up for half pigeon on the other side. That left leg is already more or less in place here. Let's straighten out that right leg and come on up. Taking a look over your right shoulder, making sure that right leg is just straight out behind you. Coming up to your blocks, finding your upright position here first. Make sure your low back doesn't feel too crunchy. If it does, try to tuck your tailbone under, kind of engage your glutes a little bit more so you're in less of a back bend. Notice that stretch through the right groin or right hip flexor area. You're welcome to stay upright as long as you'd like, or settle on into one of those more relaxing options. You could sit one of those, you could have a block underneath that left thigh or left glute. It's kind of nice to have a block underneath your head if your head is just hanging out in the air. Just feels a little more grounding to me. Use your props. Advanced practitioners use their props to their advantage. I am a strong believer, as you know, that the more practice you've had, the more advanced, quote unquote, advanced you are in your yoga practice, the more willing and humble you are to use blocks creatively. Not be afraid to support yourself. Not be afraid to find the areas that you need support in. Feel free to adjust anytime you need or want. There's no extra benefit to just pushing through. I think about 5 more breaths. Just nice expansive breaths, like we did in the beginning. Let's take a clearing breath as you're ready. Starting to rise up, but be in no hurry. We'll sit that left glute down. Bring the right leg up and around like you would in a cross-legged seat, but then uncross that left leg, finding your 50-50 position again here off to the left side this time, grabbing your blocks if you want them, or twisting to the right. So that right hand kind of reaches back and around your left hand and block, maybe wedged up against your right knee. Find your twist, sitting up tall. Notice that left glute. Feel what it's like with the left glute engaged a lot. And then softened. Does it feel like it is doing anything for your twist? And you're welcome to stay right here or find a place to lower down. I like, coming out of the twist like halfway, or even squaring the heart over the right knee. You can make this your own if you don't want to hold still. Maybe you find some other kind of moving stretch or some chanting, swaying, humming. Ooh, finding like a little figure 4 movement with the shoulders right now is giving me life. Feels so good. So I have to say that doing kind of like a little cat and cow movement right here is just also glorious. And wrapping this one up, go ahead and rise back up. Untwist the legs, straighten them out, and go ahead and head right down to your back. Let's pull the knees in toward the chest. Take a little bit of free movement here, rocking weight around your back, your low back, your sacrum. Taking any last poses, movements, or stretches that you'd like. Making your way towards your final rest soon. And that could be similar to how you started today in Shavasana with your legs outstretched, or maybe constructive rest pose with your knees bent and your feet standing up near the edges of your mat. Take your time settling in. Finding proper oral posture here, sealing your lips, parting the biting surfaces of your teeth so there's a little bit of space between them, and resting your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. This will be a simple, I say simple, but it can be difficult. Simple instructions. Try to see if you can keep this proper oral posture and the awareness of your breath. Flowing in, flowing out. Proper oral posture, lips sealed, teeth parted, tongue on the roof of the mouth. Watching as your breath rolls in and out. Smoothing out all the muscles of your face and jaw. Relaxing your shoulders and neck. Enjoy your rest. Stay with the flow. Letting go of anything from this practice. Just coming into this present moment. You are more than welcome to stay and continue resting as long as you'd like. If you are ready to begin your reawakening process, go ahead and start wiggling fingers and toes, maybe letting your head rock side to side. Maybe opening and closing your jaw, swallowing or yawning. It's hard to say yawning without yawning. And eventually choosing a side to roll onto, finding fetal position for a moment, knees slightly tucked in here. At the bottom of an exhale, start to press your way up to a comfortable seat. We'll join hands at heart center, sitting up tall, closing your eyes if you like. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we have peace in our actions, peace in our words, peace in our thoughts. Bringing thumbs up to third eye center. Let's seal our practice today together with a little bow forward in gratitude for this practice and each other. Peace. Thank you everyone for being here. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Let me know if you have any thoughts or requests for future classes. Hope to see you again soon.